Hello and welcome back to Country Boardwalk Studios, Boardwalkers. I'm watching these three lovely white-tailed does grazing in the backyard through my kitchen window. I thought in today's non-sponsored tutorial we would attempt to paint a white-tailed doe. I'll put up some reference photographs after this intro, and then we'll get our art supplies and do a sketching and watercolor painting of these lovely white-tailed does. So let's take another minute to watch these gorgeous creatures, and then we'll head back into the studio and get started. Okay, Boardwalkers, we're in the studio again, and I have my Meeden covered palette with my MaimeriBlu, Daniel Smith and Winsor Newton professional grade watercolors. We've got there Etchr Sketchbook set up for us ready to use. And what I thought I would do is we would paint a white-tailed doe. And I've got 3 different reference photos that I've shared with you guys in the video. And out of these 3, I think we're going to try and use this one here because I like the way it's set up and you can see the eye better with the stick going across better than you can this first one where it comes right across her eye. So I think we're going to use this third one, and I'll let you guys go ahead and take a screenshot of this right now. It'll also be up in the front of the earlier part of the film. And I'm going to scroll in real quick. And we're going to draw our picture. Just do a basic little sketch with my Graphic Gear Pentel 0.5 pencil, mechanical pencil. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to put a quick sketch of the tree. And then we've got this other tree that is kind of coming across here. And it's okay if your pencil jumps and bounces like mine is doing, because we just want a basic pencil shape. And you probably cannot see this really well, but we're going to do a textured pencil in there. And then our deer, we're just going to draw a basic shape of what I've seen on our deer's face. It's kind of triangle shaped here with this little bit of a jaw. And then we've got this bowed neck that comes down with this shoulder. And then back into this little leg here. And then this leg kind of comes over and then narrows down into the grass. This other leg is coming forward just a hair and stopping about right there. Narrowing down. Then we've got the underside of the chest and the belly. The belly is coming kind of right about there. And then we have this little hip part. And this leg comes way far back. And then this little bit of the leg. With the back of that right there. And then curving. I apologize for that noise in the background. Of course, you know my assistants. I try to do filming and taping when they can be quiet. So as usual, they're snoozing. All right, and I've got that little bit of the leg a little bit too long. So grab my pencil eraser and we'll erase that part. And we'll extend this part. Now that tail is going to come right about there and curve out. And then we've got this long back, and the back side is up a little bit. Shoulder, and then we've got this ear. That's right where our neck comes, and then we can make the adjustment. The adjustment right there to where the shoulder goes up, and then that back comes down. So now I can erase these other pencil lines up here and make sure I've got my drawing like I want. That neck kind of bends down a little bit further than where I want it to go. That's a little better. Okay. And then I can erase that part. Now the nose is going to be here. And that eye is going to be about right there. And that, I think, is going to work for our painting. And we can put these little thin branches up and across. And it's not going to look exactly like our reference photo because I am not going to take that stick that goes across the head here. I don't want to put that in our reference photo. See how that stick, I'm going to remove this stick and this twig here out. And then we're going to get started with some painting. And I'm going to just paint in the background. I will put up underneath in the editing the colors of the painting instead of talking all the way through this. But right now I'm going to put down some water just on this bottom half where the grass is. And yes, I'm going over the legs right now, but I'm not going over this tree, either one of these pieces of the tree. I'm just going to drop this paint in. This is a mixture of a little mixture of the green gold, Daniel Smith's green gold. No, the MaimeriBlu green gold and the primary yellow. Bit of my primary yellow. And just dropping it in. And it's going to go in all the way up under the belly in spots. Between those legs. And up behind here before we turn into that brown. For my deer, I'm going to do some mix, 50-50 mix of burnt sienna and Payne's gray. I want a brownish black kind of color. And we're doing wet on dry for this section. And I'm going to go on this leg in the direction that the leg is. While this is wet, I'm going to throw in just a little bit of the Payne's Gray by itself. Darken up on some of the back here. And just drop it in so it'll blend in. And across these ears. I want this color to blend in while it's wet, so it looks soft in here. Get that soft blended look. Across that shoulder down. This dark spot on the neck. Face. All right, now I've got those ears, I think, a bit too, because I'm going to take a wet paper towel and just drop it on there and dab it. And dab it out. Get most of that paint out of there because I went a little too heavy with it. Take my damp brush and blend that back out now. Bring it down and blend it out. And I've got a hair on there, so if I can't get it out with the brush, we're just going to leave it and let it dry, and we'll remove it when we get done. All right. Go in with my smaller number 2 brush. So I'm going to get this other side of the ear. Then we need to get that tail in, the dark part of the tail. And again, if it's a little too dark, damp it. Damp towel, just lift it out a little bit. Lift it out just a little bit. There we are. Blend that out. All right, now take my number 8 brush again, my 8 round, and go back in with some burnt sienna and redden that up a little bit, brown that color back up across that neck. across the head. To blend that in. Glaze that across. And I don't know if you can see or not, but my paper is drying super fast here. So push that in there. Bring that across and down. Get that leg. Just going to leave a little bit of a white line in there so you can see that separation of that other leg. Get that down. And then do the front glaze of this leg over here. That to blend out a little bit more. Then our other leg. All right, now we can do some more Payne's Gray and a little bit of 75% mix of the Payne's Gray and 25% mix of your burnt sienna. And we're just going to drop this tree texture in. Just hold your brush on the side and just let it run down. Just bring it straight down. And let it graze on that page. Grab a little more paint. Come straight down again. I apologize. There's a plane or something that's flying overhead making noise, and Boone's not a fan of planes. All right, so there's our first tree. go over here with some more of this mix. And let's do this other tree. And drop it in. And this one's a little bit wetter on my brush. It's okay if your brush now I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to go through here and just blot a couple of areas and give it a little bit of texture. Just give it a little bit of texture in there. Now for our background behind where the woods are in the background, I'm going to put just a little touch of my Naples yellow in it. I apologize. The dogs are bound and determined to make noise today, guys. We're going to drop this in. And carefully paint around our deer. Bring a little bit of water in here so when you get a blended edge right down here on this bottom section. So that when we bring some more paint in, we'll just smooth in there nicely. Wet this area. Drop that in. Bring it all the way down into the screen. And take a little bit of it into this right here. Then we can go back in with some more of our mixture of our green gold. And yellow. Actually, not green gold, my sap green. I don't know why I've been calling it green gold. All right. Get our other brush and re-wet this bottom down here for our grass right here. And then drop this green in so that it blends in there just nicely. Just around that leg. And across. You get that going again. For our deer. Between those legs. If we can. Up to the tail. There we are. And there we are. All right. Now, darken up this section over here again with another little bit. And drop in the wet right there. Okay. Now we can take some clean water on our number 12 brush and run it up across the top. And this is where we're going to put a little faded color. We're going to run right a little bit over the top of this painted color. And drop in a little bit of that Payne's Gray burnt sienna mix. And just drop it in. That's dried up already. Okay, and just drop it in. There we go. So we'll have that faded tree look in the back. And do some stronger lines in the back. To imitate some tree trunks. A little bit of burnt sienna by itself and drop it in for some variety. A little bit of interest. some clean water and just blend this out. Soften the edges with your damp tissue. Soften those edges. All right. We're going to let this dry and we'll come back to it in just a moment then. CB Mac here. In today's non-sponsored video, could I ask you if you're enjoying the content? Could you please click the subscribe button over here? I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers this year. Also, please post a comment down below. Don't forget to click that thumbs up like button. Share this video with someone who you think might enjoy the video. And then don't forget to click that bell icon so you'll get upcoming notifications of when my next new videos are. It makes a huge difference to the growth and the support of my channel. And to my subscribers that I've already joined, I do appreciate each and every one of you. Now, let's get back to our video. All right, boardwalkers, we've let this page totally dry because now we're going to go in and we're going to put in some fine details and bring this to a finished painting. I've got some 50-50 mix of ultramarine blue and our primary yellow to make us a really dark green. And I'm just going to go in here and drop some color in underneath the deer for my shadow. And just fade this out. And then just drop in some over here on this other side. We're just building up interest again. And we're going to pull some up to make it look like grass up underneath here. And I'm going to take just a little bit of water on my brush, clean water on my brush, and pull this out and down so that it smooths out a little bit. And there's one of those hairs again. There we go. All right. Rinse our brush, and I'm going to go in now and grab some Payne's Gray, and I'm going to darken up this tail just a hair. Just want to make the contrast on that stand out just a little bit more. And then we're going to dot this eye in here and the nose. And then maybe bring a little bit down here under this chest again and across this shoulder and down the back of the neck here. I want this to be a little bit more contrasty here. Shadow of the neck there. There we are. Take a little bit of water and soften this edge right here. There we are. All right. Get a little burnt sienna, and I need to brighten up this leg right here. Right in here. Warm that up. And then this back leg, I want to darken this up a little bit more to show that hip bone. Boom, settle, dear. Settle. It's just a truck. It's just a truck. All right, blend that in. There we go. All right. I need to drop to from my number 8 to my number 2 round because I need to do a really tight detail on this ear. I need to get a little more water on my brush. Not got quite enough water on there. Pull this ear just a little bit more toward the front. And give it a little more shadow down here on this bottom part. There we are. And blend that in. Soften this edge here. Just a little more brown in there. Oop, a bit too much. A bit too much. All right. Warm this face up just a bit. And get that neck back. There we are. There we got it. All right. Now, I've got a little bit of hair on my paper up here at the top from the earlier today. Oh, there we go. Now, we made sure to brush off all those bits of hair that we had. And now I just want to take a 50-50 mix again of that Payne's Gray mixture that we had and burnt sienna, and just drop in some tree branches and some trees. In the background back here. Just make us some more trees. Put a really light diluted bit in here to just darken up some of these stripes and make it look like we can even take some of our Naples yellow and add it to the Payne's Gray burnt sienna mixture to make it a lighter browner color with a yellower tone in it. Get some more different variety of trees back here also. Just warm up these colors. More of this orangey red, burnt sienna color in here. Just warm this up a little. Make it look like trees. Give a little bit of branches. A little bit of interest in here. All right. Now we can take our burnt sienna, Payne's Gray mixture, and warm it up just a little bit more with the burnt sienna. And then we can take and put in these couple of branches. If I can get enough water on my brush, so that will run. There we go. And we'll run that all the way up the page. Across there, like that. And we'll blend it in right here so we can see that it's coming in from behind there from another tree. Go in with a little bit darker color now for this other one, this lower branch, coming out and across. And we're going to have it come across the front of this other branch that we just laid in there. And we're going to taper it out, because I don't want it to go across the head, but I do want it to go across the deer there. And then we'll, of course, put this one in. Then we can go back in with our brush and add some more dark texture with this brush so that we can blend this in. that look like that's coming right behind there with the dry brush. And now all we got to do I do need to finish up this tail here. Make that look right down here at the bottom. There we are. I got a little bit of a dark spot there I need to erase. So we're just going to wet that a little bit and remove that dark drop where I dropped some paint or something. There we are. And blend that out. Take our rag and just soften that up again. There we go. And there we have it. Okay. Now all we have to do is go in, make sure we've got our deer looking exactly the way we want it. I need to get rid of some of these pencil lines that I can still see on part of the deer. So we're going to drop in some of this burnt sienna and darken this up and blend this in with the back. And take some water and bring it down, blend it down until it comes and blends in. There we go. So that's not looking too bad harsh. Take our rag, doesn't look too harsh. There we go. A little bit of water right in there to loosen this paint up. Right here. Smooth that out again. There we are. Okay. Now we can take a little bit of the Naples yellow, Payne's gray, and burnt sienna mix, and then just come across the tree over here. And add a little bit of texture and color here. Just dragging this down. Smooth out this neck a little bit. And maybe add a hair more to this ear. There we are. Now we can take this number 2 brush and our bleed proof white. And I just want to dampen this a little bit so I can get just a little bit of white on my brush, not too much. And I want to go in here and I want to clear up this edge here a little bit more on the ear to soften that out. There we are. And then for the deer's eye, we want to put just a hair of white around it. And a tiny, oop, a bit much. A bit much. Let me see if I can go back in there with some black and fix that. Let's see if we can do it. It's such a tiny little detail. And there we, I think, got it. All right. And let me fix this nose a little bit. There we are. I apologize in the background if you can hear the traffic going up and down the road. And I think we're finished. Please feel free to post any questions or comments below, as I do read each and every one and I try to answer all the questions. I'll have the affiliated links for everything below in the description. And you can follow me also on Facebook and Instagram. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Boardwalkers, goodbye for now.